Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Talk Japan. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a lot of topics today, including the #1 YouTube personality in the whole world is here finally in Japan. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how Elon Musk tweeted something incredibly obvious about Japan and it kind of made a little bit of a kerfuffle. And finally, guess who's back?
Woo!
Natsuki's back.
Woo!
Roll that intro. We can actually roll the intro this time because like when Josh is sitting over here with us, he can't actually roll the intro. So he just like, we pretend that he's rolling it and then we talk.
Yeah, I watched the recent YouTube and you guys were talking.
Yeah, so we talk over the intro now and it's our thing. So anyway, Natsuki, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
What did you do with your babies? Are they like, is your husband watching them?
Yeah, there. I mean, he is.
Is he capable babysitter? Is he good?
I guess so. I don't care.
I don't care.
I mean, once after I, left out my house.
You're like, it's his responsibility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he's a good guy. He takes care of him, right?
Yeah, he does.
That's cool. Now, Natsuki, how long were you gone for? Like when did you have your baby?
February, 16th February.
Wow, quite a while. It's about 3 months. How was it having a baby the second time?
You want to hear the idea story or real story?
Real story. This is Real Talk Japan.
Oh, okay. Pee, poo, every day.
Oh my God.
Change diapers.
The baby. Okay. I wasn't sure what we were talking about. How was that actually? So the first time you had a baby, you didn't get the epidural. I always forget this word.
Mutsubunben, right?
Yeah.
Less pain delivery.
What is? I always forget the English word for this. It's epidural.
Epidural.
Okay, epidural. The numbing, right? Mm-hmm. So the first time you didn't get it, you had an all natural birth because one of your stupid friends told you to be a real mother, you have to feel the pain of childbirth.
That's true.
And you were like, okay, so I'm going to do it. And then you decided that was stupid.
Yes. And then let me tell you, the epidural.
We're both not sure about this.
Okay. The less pain delivery was great.
Really?
Was great. I feel like I can have one more baby if I don't need to raise her.
If you don't need to raise Yeah, I don't know. Like if I was a woman, I was having a baby and they're like, pain or less pain? I'd be like, the less pain option, please.
But you know what? The West countries, epidural birth is already like natural. Normal. But Japan is the one, not only the only country, but Japan is the one country that people are still hesitating to do it.
So that's not just that. There's a lot of things in Japan that especially women hesitate to do. Like one is the pill. Yeah, taking the birth control pill. Mm-hmm. Man, how many conversations have I had with men and women about this? And they're like, no, the birth control pill is dangerous. I'm like, it came out in the 1950s. We've got over 60 or 70 years of research on it. It's totally fine, guys.
Yeah. And then so epidural. But anyway, I told many of my friends that was fantastic, things to do with. So if you have a chance to have a baby, you should do it.
Josh, are you listening to this? Take notes. If you have a chance to have a baby, make sure that you get the epidural.
Yeah, your future wife. But anyway. Well, anyway, so, and I told my American friends and my Japanese friends who are living in the United States, and they were like, yeah. They are like, what are you talking about? It's natural here.
It's really interesting, the different systems, because in Japan, you stay at the hospital for a week, right?
Right.
And then what do you do during that time? Before the current situation, family and friends would come and visit. But what do you do now? People can't come visit, right?
Rest.
Do you think that's good to be there?
It's good to be there. I mean, the first baby, I don't know how to deal with the baby. So the nurse come and tell me what to do, like how to bathe them or how to, breastfeed in them. So it was good. And then the second baby, I already knew how to do with the babies. Yeah. So I just take a rest. You just like a hotel.
That you have maid service and they take care of everything.
Yeah. And then after a week passed and go back to home, welcome to the real world.
So let's talk about this for our international listeners and viewers. Okay, so you had a baby in a hospital. Mm-hmm. Okay, you had the epidural. What is the word for that?
Mutsubunben.
No, yeah, what is the word? Anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
You had anesthesia, okay. Mm-hmm. And so then you so hospital, delivery, and then you stayed in care for 1 week.
And then, like, if you had a natural birth,
Yeah.
you're really tired. So you really need to rest.
Yeah.
But this time, I had no damage. So just, staying at the hospital, like a hotel.
So it was just like a fun stay for you.
Yeah, fun stay for me.
So let's talk about the cost of all this. So like I said, you had the baby, you had the epidural, you had 1 week in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your food, and don't guys, if you're thinking about this, don't think about like a hospital, like an emergency room with all these beds in one big room. You have your own room, right?
Right.
It's like a hotel room basically.
Not like rich hotel, but like normal hotel. If you pay a lot of money, you will get rich hotel. I mean hospital.
So you got food service, nursing service, all that for 1 week in your own room. What was the total cost that you had to pay for all of that?
So basically, you like if I didn't have the anesthesia thing, I will probably pay like 50万ぐらい.
So gojuman is 500,000 yen, and that's if the exchange rate is on parity worth like 100 yen to a dollar. It's about $5,000. Right now, it's probably more along $3,800.
Yeah, but if you're like the situation is different. We are living in the countryside, so maybe it's
but in
less
your
money.
particular case,
Okay, my case is that, and then the country pays for it.
Yeah.
So basically, like zero.
so wait, how much did you have to pay from your pocket?
So this time I did the anesthesia thing. It's like an extra thing.
Yeah.
It was like 10万yen.
Okay, so about $800.
Yeah. So
$700.
So I paid like 12-13万yen.
So you spent so just for everybody at home. So you had the delivery, you had the epidural, you had a week stay in a hospital, and your out-of-pocket cost was about $1,000.
It's pretty cheap, right?
I've obviously never had a baby in the United States, but I saw the photo of a receipt from here we go. Got a news story. Why does it cost $32,000 to give birth in America? And and the thing is this story that you're looking at, right? That Josh pulled up on the screen here.
Does it cover the insurance?
Probably that's before insurance, and then but the thing is that's just having the baby. That probably doesn't include any hospital time or anything like that. It's just labor and the delivery.
That's why they leave the hospital so early.
Well, yeah, and also that because there's like it's a kind of we don't have the culture of staying in the hospital for a long time afterwards.
Oh,
It's kind of
okay.
like an outpatient thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can if you want to, but for the most part, people want to go home.
But every time I see the West people, looking fine after having the baby,
Yeah.
like, especially the
Celebrities.
celebrities, なんだっけ、イギリスの女王様。
Yeah, the princess, whatever her name is, princess.
Okay. She was fine. She was looking fine. She was wearing high heels after having a baby, and I was so surprised to see her.
Okay, so that's a little bit of like movie magic because when they announce the baby, it's usually the baby's born a couple days before, a little bit before that, and then to get the women ready to take their like 1 or 2 photos, they really gotta do them up, and then they go out for a little bit, then they put them right back in bed. It's not like they're super genki and they're like hanging out in the clubs afterwards.
Ah, really?
Yeah. It's like but in Japan they do absolutely pamper the moms a lot more than they do in the West.
Yeah, I thought they can do it because of this epidural things.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
it solves my question.
But like I have seen friends of mine who have had babies, and like I've gotten to visit them in the days following, 3 days later, and they're
United States.
Yeah, and they're walking around, they're doing okay.
Okay.
I think in Japan, like it is really like like they pamper the moms, and I think it's because something that I guess I'll switch it real quick. I'll just do the Elon Musk thing first, and then do the famous YouTuber next. Is what Elon Musk was talking about. Is I think that in Japan there's this fear that the population isn't growing; it's actually shrinking. I think the number was 600 some odd thousand. I don't have the number in front of me, but Josh, if you could find it really quick. In 2021, the population in Japan shrank by 600 some odd thousand people. And so Elon Musk actually tweeted about this. He said, at the risk of stating the obvious, unless something changes to cause the birth rate to exceed the death rate, Japan will eventually cease to exist. This would be a great loss for the world, is what he said. Did you get the number, Josh? It's like 644,000. So about 650,000 people.
It's so real.
I mean, that's I mean, if you think about it, how many people in Japan died of the virus? Like the entire pandemic? I think we got maybe 15,000 or something like that. I mean, it was a small number total.
30,000.
So 30,000. So we've got over, what is it? That would be 20 times more people were lost in the country just due to like aging and natural death rate and not replenishing the population in Japan in 2021.
Because there are so many old people, right?
Not just because there's so many old people. I mean, having a lot of old people is not a problem. Having no young people is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So they keep saying that the population graph of Japan looks like a turnip because it's very, very small at the bottom. And then as you go up, it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go older.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And so what the government and a lot of people in Japan have been trying to do is they've been trying to make it easier for moms to have babies. But the thinking of this is just ass backwards. So what they do is they give you like all this federal support where they pay for your childbirth, and the insurance is really good. So the out-of-pocket cost is very small.
But still.
What's that book that they give you guys?
Boshitecho.
What is that in English?
Mother's book.
Mother's
I don't know how to say that in English.
It's like a mommy book. It's like a guidebook to being a mom. What's in that book?
Oh, before having a baby, they scale our like weight or, the length of the waist. They basically check the mommy's body.
Yeah.
And then just put the number in it.
Don't they give you a book that's like a guidebook and it has like advice and stuff like that in it? Like,
yeah, but it's like a recording book. And then after I gave birth to my baby, 요보세슈 injections. How do you say?
Like vaccines and things like that.
Yeah, so they record it to make sure that my baby is to have
vaccinated.
Vaccinated. That's the book for it.
So they got that, and they got what else? They got like maternity leave, so you guys can take a year off.
Right.
That's like insured by the government. Then they have they're starting to do paternity leave. Father can take time off.
Right.
They're doing all these different things to increase the birth rate, but it's not working. And the reason why we talked about this, I think last show, is that the reason why the birth rate is going down in Japan is, well, there's three big reasons. One, because women are becoming more educated, and when women in a population become more educated, the population growth decreases. Two, because as a country becomes more and more developed, the birth rate decreases. You can see this in Europe. But the biggest problem is that it's really, really expensive to have children. So your birth, the whole having a baby in the hospital and everything was not that expensive. But once you get to raising your children, your daughter is still pretty young.
Yeah.
She's 2, 3, 2?
Will be 3.
Almost be 3. She's almost 3. So she's still in daycare, hoikuen. Right? So she's not in yochien yet.
Not yet.
So once she goes to yochien, then yochien is kindergarten. Once she goes to kindergarten, she's going to have to start paying money?
No, I mean, after 3 years old, I don't have to pay money.
Anymore.
Until 3, I have to pay.
But it also depends on which kindergarten you go to.
Kindergarten and daycare, both, I don't have to pay money. Of course, I have to pay like extra money, like a little bit lunch money or like insurance. I have to pay, but basic money I don't have to pay.
Okay. So that if you go to like a private, for example, kindergarten and stuff like that, it can be as expensive as, maybe a few $1,000s a month in Tokyo and things like that. If you go to an international kindergarten, it's even more. Your average kindergarten is not that expensive. Then they go to elementary school, and then you have to buy them things like randoseru, which is like the leather backpack we talked about. That can be anywhere between like $500 US to like $3,000 US. And then as the kids get older and older, things just get more and more and more expensive. When they want to go to college, parents in Japan basically fund the children to go to college. They pay for everything, including their apartment and everything like that. And, it's just really, really expensive to have kids. And on top of that, salaries have been flat for the last like 20 years. So the cost is kind of keep rising. Inflation is kind of going up, and the wages is flat. So that's the reason why they're not having kids, is the economy.
That's true.
But now you're a unique case because you and your husband dual income, right? You went to university, he went to university. So in your case, it's easy to have 1 or 2 kids. But if you have 2 like working class parents, like you have like maybe the father does construction, the mom is a stay-home mom. That's a difficult situation to have kids in.
But my people around me, like those working parents are having more kids actually. Do you understand what I mean?
And what happens with those kids though?
They don't go to college.
They don't go to college, right? And so the kids that go to college are basically like few and far between and getting smaller. And then we've talked about this a little bit, like how like different groups are growing and some are shrinking. And so it's not what the government wants, right? And it's not what the general population of Japan wants. But I don't really see a way to fix this easily without importing a lot of foreign people. Because the great thing about importing a foreign person, and everybody at home should understand this, and if you're a Japanese politician, you should also understand this. My kindergarten, elementary school, junior high school, and university were all paid by the U.S. government. Some part of the U.S. government, be it the state, city level, whatever, it was all paid by America. By other people paying taxes in America.
Right.
Okay. So then after I graduated university, I came to Japan. I'm a free, educated, capable person that just came over here and started adding to the economy. Right? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't have to spend any money growing me to a point where I could contribute to society. That's the beauty of immigration, especially good immigration. Right? So America does this a lot. America, if you have a PhD or if you're a top person specialist in your field or whatever, we just like we print visas for you and ship you to Silicon Valley. Right? Yeah, come help our economy, please. All over the world, please, 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 right? This is the problem with Japan though, is that that's not really happening on a large scale.
Yeah. Is it going to happen if the population is, keep shrinking?
So that's why Elon Musk like tweeted that. Because I think Elon Musk likes Japan. I think most people like Japan.
Really? Thank you.
And I think most people like the Japanese people. And I think if you look at the global politics right now, we got China and Russia and all these other players out there. Europe, America, Japan, we're all in South Korea. We're all kind of buddies. Taiwan, everybody's friends. And we don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. Yeah,
but Elon Musk tweet actually made me uneasy about, raising children in Japan.
Why?
Because, I really thought that I have to, put my kids to speak English. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, you should do that anyway.
Yeah, I know I should do it anyway. But if the Japan is going to, destroy.
It's not going to disappear, okay?
Disappear.
It's not going to disappear. I think what Elon Musk Musk is a very smart guy. Not everything that he says comes true. I mean, he said the pandemic would be over in a month. Okay, not everything that Musk says comes true. He's not God. He's not Jesus. But what he was talking about is, I think the world needs so for example, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, as far as Asian countries go, very, good democracies, very free societies and, kind of model countries in a lot of ways. And so there's a need to have more of that in the world, right? And if Japan as a political global leader becomes weaker because the population is shrinking, that's not good for the world, right? And so especially if we need to counterbalance China constantly, because China's just going to keep growing.
Why is it? Because their land is bigger than, other countries? Why the population of Chinese people are growing?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons. So if you look at the average salary of a Chinese person over the last, let's say, over the existence of the CCP, for example, okay? You can see, actually, I want to give credit where credit is due. The Communist Party in China has been responsible for, Josh, you can probably pull this figure out. I forgot how many hundreds of millions of people were pulled from poverty out into, like a better form of life in over the existence of the CCP. I mean, they through a lot of, let's just say, not nice methods, they have raised the life quality of a lot of people in their country. And so in doing so, that first initial move from the countryside to the city makes a population boom in the beginning that looks like a baby boom. And that's why in the beginning, the CCP had the population of the one-child policy, right? Which they've currently kind of changing because they realize that if you only have one child, it's going to cause future problems. So they have 1 billion plus people. A lot of people went from the countryside to the city suddenly, had a lot of babies. And so their population is growing. But if you look at the top tiers of society, like the very, very elite people, you start to see the birth rate slow down.
Oh, really? I see.
So as the economic, what is it called? Like as the wealth kind of comes down and makes more and more people in China wealthy, you're going to start seeing a slowing down of the birth rate, which just naturally happens. But it's not going to happen for another 50, 60, 100 years, maybe. What did you get the number? I don't know. It's some ridiculous, like hundreds of millions of people came out of like poverty in the last, 30 or 40 years or whatever it is. So the China's economic miracle, is something that we should all look at, and it's very impressive. Now, the way that they've done it, we can debate that, but it's very impressive. So for a while, at least, India and China's birth rate is not going to, they're gonna continue to be large populations. Japan is like 10 steps ahead of Europe. Europe is going to suffer the same exact thing that Japan is doing right now. It's just Japan is more advanced case of it, and we got to figure out something to do about that. It's so I think that the only way to fix it is to figure out a way to bring in good immigration to Japan. And you need immigration on all levels. You don't just need like smart alecky idiots like me. You also need people to work on, in factories and farms and things like that. And those people can come from different countries, and have a better life here. But the thing that needs to really be worked on, I think, one is an acceptance of foreign looking people. And then two, understanding that when people come here, like the Norwegian way of doing this is really good. Like as people come to your country, you assimilate them. You say, okay, you're in Japan now. Here's the culture here. Let's all do the same thing or understand the same culture. Let's abide by the same rules. If we can do that, then it'll be fine. We shouldn't forget Japanese culture. We shouldn't forget Japanese language and the Japanese history. We should share it with more people.
Right. Share with more people. Do you know Hiroyuki? He's the founder of Ni Channel.
Yeah.
Okay. He already left Japan and moved to French.
Really quick, Ni-chan. So there's 4chan and Ni-chan. 4chan is the English version. Ni-chan is the original Japanese bulletin board.
Oh, really?
And it's like basically, I don't know how you would describe it. It's like the old school internet way of posting pictures and text and things like that. And it's basically the wild, wild west of the internet. It's like anything can be posted on it.
Right. And then you don't have to tell name.
Yeah, it's completely anonymous. There's very little in terms of rules. In fact, they have a lot of like adult categories on both 4chan and Ni-chan. And when you click on the Japanese one, like depending on the category, a little pop-up window will appear and it'll say, please turn around. This is not good for your mental health.
But the founder, the name is Hiroyuki. He's funny and he tweets a lot.
He moved to France, huh?
Yeah, he already abandoned Japan, I guess.
I'm not ready to abandon Japan yet. I'm still here. I still have faith in this country.
But I like his tweets. It's funny, and he gets points. He appears on TV a lot, and actually, he was saying that if you have a baby, like Japanese politicians are like dumb, so why don't you make her, like give newborn baby 1,000,000 yen each. Do you understand? How do you say 1,000,000 yen? $1 million?
No, 1,000,000 yen would be about, if it was 100 yen to a dollar, it'd be about $100,000.
$100,000.
But right now with the weekend, it's probably more like $70,000.
Okay. If the Japanese politician do the things like that, maybe, people are thinking about having a baby.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a good idea, Japanese government, give money like little by little. They support us, but we don't really get impact. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't just keep printing money.
Oh, yeah.
That money has to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But, if the baby will grow up and they become adults, they, pay taxes.
Or they run away to France.
Yeah, that's true.
Moot, I think is his name. The head of 4chan, Moot. He had a TED talk, just double check that for me, Josh. He had a TED talk about freedom of speech and stuff like that. And like what he said was really, really interesting. But I don't know, just because you made an internet channel where a bunch of otaku like talk about otaku stuff, I don't think your opinion means anything. But at the same time, I mean, what does Elon Musk know about Japan,
Yeah. But he gives a big impact to Japan, I guess.
Yeah, just a lot of, is it Moot? Yeah, it is Moot. He's got a TED talk. You should watch it. But anyway. Okay. Anyway, I think that the way that we solve, I'll just solve the problem right now. This is how we solve the population problem in Japan. we do exactly what our next story is about, which is the biggest YouTuber in all the world has finally made it to Japan.
Who are you talking about?
You have no idea who I'm talking about, do you?
No.
Now, Josh, as far as, because you do YouTube, we make YouTube content.
I only watch kids' YouTube now.
That's actually one of the top 5 channels on YouTube. But out of the top 10 channels on YouTube, the top ranking personality. I mean, there's other channels. There's like, music, YouTube music, or there's like some Indian TV channel or something like that. But of the top 10 YouTube channels, the top ranking personality is he was actually, I think, for a long time, number 1 as just a channel on YouTube, Pewdiepie.
Pewdiepie.
Can you put a picture of him on the screen?
It's his name.
He's a Swedish-born guy who made a YouTube channel, and he has just random content. Like sometimes he'll do game streaming, sometimes he'll just do like unboxing, sometimes he'll just do like vlogging. It's basically like PewDiePie, anything he wants to put on TV or on his channel. And he's got...
Why is he so famous? I mean, lot of these subscribers.
So he has his own like community of people who absolutely love him. And I don't want to say anything critical about them because they're scary and they will mob your shit and they will fuck you up. But he's got his own very hardcore community who follow him religiously. A lot of them follow him religiously. And he, I think, currently has 111 million subscribers. So he has about the same population as Japan as subscribers.
So all over the world.
Yeah, all over the world. And he's been trying to move to Japan, I think, for the last 2 years.
Nande?
But
Why?
because of the probably to make content and just to live here and whatever. But because of the current situation and because Japan was not allowing people to come into the country,
right.
he almost gave up.
Okay. Oh, is he the one who, moved? He was driving the car, and then this is the last time I drive England things doing.
Yeah. That's exactly
that's
who
him.
it is. Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand why you gave me your contents.
So PewDiePie is now a hopefully happy resident of Japan. And to PewDiePie, if you ever want to be a guest on our very lonely little show here in Kagoshima, you can come anytime. I can't afford you, so I can't pay for you. So it's got to be like, absolutely like just a good grace of you. But I mean, like he's like a multiple, if not billionaire, millionaire.
I will take you to the local bar if we want to.
I don't even know what PewDiePie likes to do.
Right. That's true.
But anyway, can we find out what his net worth is? His net worth is crazy. Anyway, so this is the crazy immigration policies of this country.
Okay.
Is even though he's worth millions, if not, how much is he worth, Josh?
Was it on the news? I mean, Japanese big news?
I don't know if Japan knows who he is.
Right, like me, right?
The rest of the world does.
Oh my God.
Okay, Josh is looking up his net worth. Anyway, so you got a guy who's worth, I'm going to say, millions. And he's going to bring his YouTube channel to Japan and promote the fuck out of your country. And they're like, no visa for you for 2 years. I know I'm not supposed to say the R word on the show anymore, but ridiculous. We'll just use that word. Like, if I was the head of immigration and somebody with like pockets full of money wanted to come to my country, I'd be like, right this way, sir.
VIP.
Here's your limousine. Please spend some money in our lonely little economy. I know it's not fair, but dude, like, come on, that money will spread around the community and it'll help mom and pop shops.
Right, that's true.
You got it, Josh?
So, I mean, there are a bunch of different sources and none of them know for sure, but this source says that he's worth $54 million right now. And I mean, if you think about it, according to the internet, he has 4,400 videos on YouTube that are constantly being watched. Yeah. And he makes ad revenue on most of those videos.
And not to mention sponsored content or whatever the hell else he does. Yeah, I mean, like, PewDiePie, I forgot what the exact quote is, but like he had like this, he actually went through some like mental issues where he felt like if he didn't upload a video every day that like his community would just leave him. So I think he's over it now, but he had some like super pressure to perform because I mean like he's got 111 million fans who like look for content from him daily. That's a lot of fucking pressure. But anyway, he's got a lot of money, he's got a lot of influence, you know, and
but I didn't know
couldn't get a visa to this country for 2 years. I mean, like, I don't know. Again, it's just not smart. Like, if you're the guy in charge of the visa situation, it's just not smart. Right? If Elon Musk is like, I want to live in Tokyo for the rest of my life, it's like, right this way, sir. Have yourself a penthouse, spend all the money. You know what I mean? Like, make a couple businesses here while you're at it. Add to our GDP. Right? I don't get it. Anyway, welcome to Japan Pewdiepie. I hope that you enjoy everything. And again, if you ever want to come on our show,
Please come to Kagoshima.
yeah, actually, if you just want to come hang out in Kagoshima,
Yeah.
that would be totally cool. Speaking of immigration to Japan, Japan police urge officers to avoid impression of racial profiling. So here we go. The National Police Agency issued an advisory to all prefectural police forces in December to avoid questioning people in a way that could be perceived as racially motivated. The advisory came after the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo tweeted on December 6th that it had received reports of suspected racial profiling incidents with several foreigners. Racial profiling refers to law enforcement officers deciding based on ethnicity that a person is likely to be involved in criminal activity. Natsuki, what's your take on this? How do you feel about this?
Like I'm living in the small island country. Do you understand what I mean?
So the story continues. In January 2021, an English teacher with a Japanese mother and a Bohemian father was less stunned after police in Tokyo explained that they had questioned him because, in our experience, many people with dreadlocks carry drugs. I mean, that's
恥ずかしい. How do you say that in English?
it's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Now, I mean, as an American, I can't really say much about professional policing because Jesus. I mean, depending on the department, there's a lot of good departments in America. I don't want to shit on all of them, but some of them just really, really shit. But the Japanese police department in Japan it's federal. It's all same policy across the entire country. So I really think that it probably just comes down to a lack of training and a lack of experience because there really is very little crime here. And police officers most of the time are either handling drunk people, giving directions, or looking very bored.
Looking very bored.
Yeah.
They are waiting for, hidden place to, people who are talking on the phone during driving.
While driving, yeah. So I didn't know this, but like, apparently if you get like if you're at a stoplight and you texting on your phone, that's illegal.
Illegal.
Didn't know that. Learned that in driver's renewal school.
Hi.
They're like, that's a point. I was like, really? I didn't know. I thought if I was stopped, it was cool. Apparently it's not okay. Natsuki, let's go to a story that you have. Any story.
Burger King Japan is offering dried ramen instead of French fries. It's cool, is it?
So it's like, if you guys are picturing this at home, I mean, maybe we'll put a picture of this in the YouTube version of this, but it's basically like it's like dried ramen in the shape of a potato chip. It looks like a Tostito. Is that what that's called? I don't know what those are called. Like the little curvy. I forgot what those are called.
Is it famous in other countries? We say baby star ramen.
What are those? They're like
Kirby?
They look like a fingernail that's grown out too long.
No,
It's
gross.
potato chips.
Stop it.
They're called like, what is it, Fritos or something?
Fritos or something like that. Anyway, so these Japanese ramen look kind of
It's
like
a snack.
It's a snack. It's like it's in a bag.
This one, right? Fritos?
Yeah, Fritos.
Oh.
That's what that is.
I've never thought that they look like fingernails, but now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, they're like overgrown fingernails.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they're grody too. Let's all go back to a couple shows ago where we learned that Josh is not a human being.
What are you talking about?
Josh does not enjoy crunchy things.
My favorite.
Yeah, it sends chills down my spine. I can't eat crunchy food.
Okay,
Well,
let's just go
is
over.
potato chip crunchy?
Yeah, potato
Yeah.
chips are crunchy.
So you cannot eat potato chips?
I can.
No. He's disgusting. He puts it in his mouth and waits until it becomes really soft,
Ew.
and then he eats it.
Don't shame me.
You're fucking not human, Josh. You're
Don't
fucking
shame
not
me.
human.
Hey, I love crunchy things.
Let's just go over the uncomfortable things. Nails on a chalkboard. Can you guys deal with that?
Not really, no.
No.
That I can deal with. You know what I can't deal with? I want you to imagine chewing a folded over dry paper towel in your teeth. Like that feeling of like dry like texture against your teeth. Oh, dude, I cannot deal with that. Gauze in my mouth is the most disgusting feeling in the world.
Ooh.
I also cannot touch real cotton balls.
Hey, can I back to the ramen story?
Wait, no, we're gonna go over this. I can't. Can you touch like a normal cotton ball? Can you crush it with your finger?
Yeah.
I cannot do that. The little like, I don't know how to explain. Like, you know how it like kind of compresses weird. I can't deal with that.
I have no idea why that's weird too.
I cannot take the cotton balls out of medicine bottles. I have somebody else do it for me, or I use chopsticks.
Why?
I can't. I can't do eye drops.
You mean you can't put the eye drops in?
No, I can't deal with it. Like even if someone's putting it in for me, and like my body has a weird reaction.
I have the same thing, and I got around this by putting the eye drop in my tear duct on the side here, and then it just kind of goes into your eye afterwards.
Oh.
I could probably do that.
Yeah, because you're just putting it in the little what is it, like the little indentation right there, not in your eye, so you can keep your eyes closed while doing it. I've never put contacts in my eyes before. Have you ever put in contacts?
I don't wear contacts.
I cannot chew aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil. Everybody can't do that. That's everybody, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's gross. That's just painful.
Painful.
Hopefully we didn't scare away our listeners.
I hope everybody's freaked out by this. Comment below what freaks you guys out. There's so the tissue and gauze in my mouth. I just cannot deal with that. Like, I don't know, something about when you crush a real cotton ball, not the synthetic kind, but a real cotton ball, it kind of compresses unregularly. It goes like as it like compresses. That feeling for some reason is disgusting to me, and I have no idea why.
I'm gonna kind of bring it back around a little bit, but the one crunchy food that I can eat is in Hawaii. You know, like top ramen.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, it's like a normal snack to like open up the flavor packet, put into your uncooked top ramen, and crunch it up and eat it.
That's the inspiration behind these chips.
Yes, exactly. So I was bringing it back around.
Yeah.
And there you go.
But that's like the crunchiest thing you could possibly crunch.
It's something with the size. It's like smaller crunches, so that's okay. But like a potato chip or cereal, that like, it makes me feel sick.
Hey, can't you eat like crunchy karaage too?
That's fine. Karaage is fine.
Okay.
It's like, because that's like juicy.
Oh, okay.
Can you chew ice?
No, but that's like a different thing. It's too cold.
Chikakukabin, that's what we say.
What does that mean?
Chikakukabin, I don't know. Google it.
I don't know. Google it. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know. That's the other thing that I can't do. I can't eat the crust of a pizza.
Why?
I don't know. It's just disgusting to me. Even if it
What?
has.
It's so good.
Yeah, everybody says in I don't know why, but crust of a pizza is called mimi. Does that mean ear?
Right.
Is it
Pan no
ear?
mimi.
It's the ear of the bread or from the pizza.
I don't like those things either because it makes me full. I want to eat other, delicious food.
I just don't like the texture of it.
Texture.
It's dry.
Yeah. Put some olive oil and salt.
Now I have to do something. I just put it back in the box. God.
Right.
Anyway, getting back to this Burger King thing. So instead of fries, you can get crunchy ramen,
Dried ramen.
in a pack.
Right. Why? I don't
Sounds
get it.
amazing. Let's go do it.
Is it? No, it doesn't make me full.
Yeah, but the thing is like, when, especially if you're a tourist and you come to Japan, by the way, it seems, guys, I don't actually have the story with us today, but it actually seems like the borders are probably going to open for reals. Kishida was talking about, he's like, Joukyo ga kawatta kara, which is like the situation has changed.
Right.
So they're like, they might even drop the PCR requirement next month.
Kishida was, not wearing mask when he went to Italy or some European countries, and he gets a real, close conversation with, those people in there. And then after he came back to Japan, he was wearing mask, and then people were, people were talking about why he does things like that.
Well, because scientifically speaking, we talked about this last show, but if you're outside in like the daytime and like you're in a non-crowded area, wearing a mask does nothing.
I know.
I'm not a scientist.
And then he was saying that he just follows the rules in those countries.
Yeah.
And then he comes to Japan and everybody wear mask and he follows Japanese rule.
Well, I don't know which one's better. That or Trudeau, whatever his name is. He's like in Canada, he's like unmasked the whole time. He's like, hey, everybody, I'm the handsome guy. And then he goes to a foreign country, he's wearing a black mask the entire time. So he's like, oh, foreign people.
To us, he doesn't have, his policy. Do you understand what I mean? His
own policy. Well,
own
because it's all
policy.
theater. It's all bullshit. So anyway, so next month, guys, if you're at home and you're thinking about planning a trip to Japan, I would start looking at ticket prices. Let's just say that I recently looked at ticket prices from here to go back to America, and they're starting to come down in price pretty quickly because they're starting to fill up the planes and they're having more flights and things like that. So right now it's a good time to start maybe planning a late summer, early fall trip.
Cool.
Would be pretty cool. So I'd get on that, guys, if you are at home thinking about coming to visit, or maybe even potentially even next year. The way the travel industry works, the earlier you purchase your tickets and things like that, the cheaper they are.
And yen, Japanese yen rate is very good now. So
Oh God,
yeah.
it's like
Come shop.
Japan is basically like free right now. No, it really is. It's like 132 yen to the dollar.
Right.
I've never seen this level before.
Showaila, maybe.
All right, let's get to Japan accepts 74 refugees in 2021, highest on record. Japan granted refugee status to 74 people asking asylum in 2021, the highest level since it began recognizing refugees in 1982, the immigration agency said on Friday. So I'm just going to shit on the immigration people today. Natsuki, without looking, how many people do you think refugees the United States accepted in 2021? So
1,000?
So Japan was 74.
10,000?
11,411. I did the math on that, guys. That means that Japan has accepted 0.6% of the refugees that America accepts.
And then I saw the news. It doesn't include Ukraine people, right?
But how many? There's like 32 Ukrainian people. Even then,
Right.
it'd be like less than 1%.
Right. We're, close.
See, it's less than, it's 0.6%. That's not 6%. They 10%.
We are a small island country.
Yeah, with a shrinking population, you can accept more refugees, especially, ones who are in need. I'd say get on it, immigration people. Tokyo government plans to start, this is good news, start same-sex partnership system in November.
Finally.
The Tokyo Metropolitan Government said it plans to introduce a system that recognizes partnerships involving sexual minorities from November, as it unveiled Tuesday a new draft version of the whatever. In order to enact the policy in November, a draft amendment, blah, 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 blah. There's actually a weird sentence in this story that I wanted to read. Oh, here we go. Japan does not legally recognize marriage between members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. This is wrong, Kyodo News. If you're bisexual and you're a guy and a girl and you're both bisexual and you get married, Japan recognizes that. So this sentence doesn't make any sense. If you're transgender and your mate is transgender, so your birth genders are opposite, it's totally recognizable. The only thing that's not recognized is same birth gender marriage. Okay, so if you've transitioned, they don't go on, well, you can fight for it, but in general, it's hard. So anyway, so Tokyo is finally making like basically it would be called like a civil union, like a same-sex partnership. And I think what this is, Natsuki, is I think that this is the same thing that happened with the borders, how the borders kind of slowly opened. I think that this is the same thing. I think that this is the
slowly open for them.
Slowly making it more and more normal, and then eventually they're just going to be like, marriage is fine. Can you imagine in your future, Natsuki, going to a wedding party, a wedding ceremony, or not, which one is it? Ceremony? No. Wedding reception, and they're just being two guys up on the thing.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I've actually attended once.
Where?
Kagoshima.
Really?
Yeah.
But not a legal marriage, just like
just like partnerships.
How was that? Was it fun?
It was fun. They were both like dressy, oshare. How do you say that?
Dressed up.
Dressed up. I mean, yeah.
Stylish.
Stylish. They are from Tokyo though. just one of them are from Kagoshima, and then he went to Tokyo, and then bring the partner to Kagoshima, and they just had a party here.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I mean, like, yeah, as this gets more normal around the world, I think, Japan's a little slow to get to it, but I think that eventually.
Right.
The one thing that there was a TEDx Tokyo talk that I remember from some years back that kind of made me feel sad was that one of a gay speaker was talking about how, if his partner is in the hospital, he has no right to go visit them.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff I don't think we need that. That
happened in 1970s in West countries. Is it?
Well,
60s?
Well,
70s?
Which country are we talking about? We're
know.
talking about the good old USA. We're just push and pull on that situation there.
I have watched the movie about it, and the two lesbian couples, and one went to the hospital, and then she almost died, and the partner couldn't, go to the hospital. That was American movie or
Maybe.
English movie?
I mean, it's completely. It happened all the time. There's this. There was a euphemism, a way of saying nicely when a man was gay and died. That in the past, I forgot exactly what it was, but it would say like, so and so died and never married, or something like that, or had never married, or had something like that. There was like a sentence that the newspaper would write that meant that the man lived a gay life, and so he never had a female partner. But they would write like, he never married, or I forgot what it was, but something like that. And so like, there's all these photos that are surfacing from, the 50s and the 40s and things like that of people who are like in gay relationships that are secret. It's been happening forever, and in Japan before a long time ago, before the Meiji Restoration period, like Japan had a lot of gay people, and it's totally fine before.
Right.
The whole it being taboo is a recent thing. So yeah. But anyway, I think my take on the whole LGBTQ plus thing, people are people, leave them be, let them be happy. Why the fuck do you care what somebody else is doing with their private time?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. As long as they're two consenting adults or more, whatever your thing is, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, don't push what you are thinking to others.
Exactly. Let's go to a fun story. You have all the fun stories.
All
right. By the way, when we read a story, Natsuki, we have a tradition of doing like this.
Oh, okay, sure.
We're making a mess.
All right. Okay, here we go. Japanese man recreators the Last Supper out of McDonald's wrappers. That was great.
Okay, so we're gonna have to put this in the. This is a tweet. We'll have to put this in the YouTube video.
Burger King to McDonald's.
So we're on McDonald's. So if you guys know the Last Supper, the painting, famous
the
painting,
Jesus things, right?
The Jesus thing, right? Yes, Natsuki, the Jesus thing.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's also not right, but we'll just keep going. We'll go with it. Things said by Natsuki in today's show. The Last Supper is the Jesus thing by Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, Da Vinci. I mean. Oh my god.
Two things happen on this show. One, we realize how much Natsuki does remember from school. And two, Natsuki
oh my god, I'm so stupid.
Generally learns more about her country.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Can you talk to us like the art style of this painting, please?
Okay, he's an artist, is he? I don't know, but what we call is chigirie. Chigirie is, you wrap paper piece by piece and put it together and make up, one art.
It's basically a collage of like ripped pieces of paper.
Right.
So chigiru, how do you
wrap?
To rip, right? Rap. Can you please rap for us? Like to see your style. Let's get a flow going.
Love is like, yo, man, things like that.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like that, Oscar. Anyway,
so stupid.
we'll put a image of this in the show, but like, it actually looks pretty convincing. And this was found on Twitter. I don't know why this man did this, but
the Jesus is eating McDonald's. I mean, the Big Mac, I guess.
The Jesus. We need to make merch for this show. I just need a T-shirt that says "The Jesus is eating the McDonald's." All right. Anyway, let's go. This is a serious story. So, 50 years after return, Okinawa's strategic importance grows for the United States. So, about 50 years ago, Okinawa was returned to Japan. It was in 1972. And so basically from so basically okay, so after World War II, the United States like kept like the territory of Okinawa for a while. And if you guys don't know this, it was really interesting because like even though Japan main island was driving on the left, the entire time that the Okinawa was part of the United States, they were driving on the right. And then in 1972, when they made the switch over, when America said, okay, you can have your land back, but they kept their little bases, right? They had to switch the driving back to Japan style.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was actually a lot of accidents and things like a lot of trouble that happened. But if you look at old photos after post-war Okinawa, the little streets and everything, especially on International Street, they look like little pieces of California and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because they have all these American cars and like they have like the way that the shops and everything are shaped. It's just kind of interesting.
I will Google it.
Google it. But anyway, so this story is talking about how with the current situation in the world with China, the rise of China, the things that are happening in Ukraine, and also what's happening with Taiwan. The strategic importance of Okinawa has never been more clear. Because I remember there were debates like after 9/11, when the focus of the United States defense went from thinking about the Cold War, like the USSR and Russia, to thinking about anti-terrorism. And there were a lot of politicians that were saying, why are we spending billions and billions of dollars keeping these bases in Okinawa? And at that time, that actually made a lot of sense because it didn't really make any sense to have those bases there at that time. But now it's actually a good thing. I think, it's my opinion, but I'm going to ask you. I think it's a good thing that we do have those bases there simply because I think that if you look at a map, the closest Japanese territory, there's actually a smaller little island that's closer, but just ignore that. The closest big Japanese territory to Taiwan is Okinawa. And so if China was to launch some sort of attack or try to regain control of Taiwan, the place that we would be able to best defend Taiwan from is from Taiwan and from Okinawa. And since I think that we're getting closer and closer to the day when China decides to be silly and try to invade Taiwan, even though it's a sovereign country, I think that
Scary.
Yeah, I think that having those bases there right now is acting as a deterrent. But Natsuki, you're the Japanese person here. How do you feel about the U.S. bases in Okinawa?
Because I have never lived in Okinawa, so I don't really face the things that real Okinawa people are feeling.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So I cannot really tell what I'm thinking because it's kind of like out of things.
Outsider view.
Yeah, outside of view. Yeah. So I want America to protect Japan because our, Jieta, how do you say that?
Self-defense force.
Self-defense force is not strong as, Americans do.
But they're pretty strong. And recently the Jieitai, the self-defense force is getting, there's all these talks about making them stronger.
Yeah, we should think about, how to protect ourselves, but we still need somebody's help. That's why I want to put American bases in Okinawa. But like I said, I've never lived in Okinawa, so they might be facing some other problems. Do you understand what I mean?
So I asked some of my Okinawa friends about this situation. I was like, what do you guys think about the bases? And I think if you're in Okinawa and you're watching our show or listening to the show, and if I'm wrong about this, please comment. But I think the general consensus is that there's like three groups of thinking. There's the people who are pro-base because they probably make money from it. There's some sort of business opportunity there. There's anti-base people who just don't want to have the hassle. They want their island back, that kind of thing. Well, I mean, the majority of the island is for the Okinawan people, except for the bases. And then there's a third group who just don't care. They're like, whatever, it doesn't affect me. So I think that's a general consensus. I think that if you're going to have the base there, which I think strategically it makes sense. You either have an American base or a Japanese base there. You need a base there, okay? I think that if you're going to do that, I think that one thing that we can all agree on is that the Americans, if they're going to stay there, can do a better job of controlling the type of... one of the problems is when the soldiers go on private time. They go out and they drink, they party in the city, in Naha and things like that. Sometimes they cause trouble. I think that there should be more tighter, stricter rules about that. Like, hey, if you do something and you cause trouble, it's serious. Right?
It's not serious.
No,
right
it's
now?
serious, but like more serious. So it happens less, right? or if they can't control the soldiers, because I've been in Hawaii when there's like, you know, all the Navy guys and like the import soldier guys when they're on leave. And when you get a bunch of, you know, strong rah guys in a bar and they start drinking, sometimes there can be trouble.
Right.
And I think that if you can't control that, then I think that maybe you should keep the soldiers on the base, not let them leave. So there should be some sort of balance there. Okay. And for those of you who are listening who are soldiers, for the vast majority of soldiers out there, they're extremely good people, never cause trouble. It's always the worst guys who make the name bad for everybody. But there needs to be some sort of, you know, maybe peer pressure or something keeping that together. Otherwise, don't let them off the base.
Who are those soldiers? They join army or Marines in America and then move to Japan.
So,
then they go back.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So they're mostly one of the points of this article was that there's a Marine base there.
Oh, okay.
And so the Marines are one of the first into fight, right? And what the Marines are, you sign up in your hometown or wherever in America. You say, okay, I'm going to enlist. I'm going to be a Marine. And then you go to boot camp wherever you go, study, train. And then after that, you get assigned. Like you don't choose. It's not a job interview, right? It's you're in the forces. You know, the government tells you what to do, basically. And so that, you know, you get assigned different places. I mean, sure, you could probably ask for assignments in different places, whatever, but the choice is ultimately somebody else's.
Do you think they look under us, under people in Okinawa?
I hope not. I mean, I don't really know. I don't, you know, one thing that has happened since after Vietnam, basically, the United States military, and this is a whole different topic for a different show for somebody who knows more about this than I do. But after Vietnam, a lot of the basically military people, because it's not a draft, meaning like you have to volunteer to be in the military now. Basically, there's military families who all are like one community.
Same as Japan.
And then there's a non-military communities. And there's almost no connection these days between the two. So if you're not in the military world, it's really hard to understand their issues and their thinking and things like that. So it's kind of, I don't actually like it, because I think that, you know, if you're a civilian, if you're like me and you have very little connection to the military world, and somebody's like, let's go to war, it's easier to say, yeah, because there's no consequences for you. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that's a good idea, but I don't know how to fix it either. So, but no, I hope that the Marines don't look down on the Okinawans. And I think it's probably more of like a, you know, let's party in Japan. Oh, everything's really fun. And in Japan, alcohol is really easy to get. It's very cheap. You can drink till the morning time. There's no laws against that. So I think it's just too much alcohol probably most of the time. Anyway, but I do think that the bases there are important, whether they're Japanese or American. That's for somebody else to decide. That's well above my pay grade. Let's go into something a little bit more fun. Japan to boost tourism at Ainu Culture Complex. Government spokesman: the Japanese government will provide inbound tourism, meaning, you know, from foreign countries, to a major cultural complex in Hokkaido dedicated to the indigenous Ainu people. Natsuki, what do you know about the Ainu people?
Zero. Okinawa to Hokkaido. But I saw the commercial of Ainu people are dancing. Yeah, it was, you know, the commercial during the Olympic Games. And then the dancing and things were beautiful. So I got interested. But I wonder if people are interested. I shouldn't say that.
If interested in it. If it was well, okay. So it's not about being interesting. It's about the cultural significance of it, right? So
what do you know about Ainu? Do you?
So Japan is a grouping of islands that's you know, next to Korea and China, okay, and also next to Russia. And the Ainu people, so you can think about migration to Japan as coming in probably 3 waves, maybe more. So the very first wave of people were you know, we know the very first people that are recorded in history that lived in Japan are the Jomon Jidai. But the Ainu people, Josh, you might want to fact check on this one. They either predate that. They're basically the Ainu people. Look, if you look at them, they kind of look like Alaskans, like real Alaskans, and they probably are somehow linked to that whole Beringia. Back in the day when the whole northern hemisphere, or like the very northern part of the world, was all frozen over, tundra, mammoth like times. And so these people probably came over to Japan during that time. I think this is a long time ago I learned this. And then later on in life, you had the more like what we consider the Asian Japanese people came in two subsequent waves after that. One, probably through the like from maybe China or something like that. And then a second one through Korea. And so you have like these three, this is a current theory, I think anyways, these like two major bloodlines that came into Japan. That's why the Japanese people tend to fall into two different like physical looking categories. And then you have the Ainu people who are probably like what we consider like Native Americans in America.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Like the very, very first people to land in mostly northern Japan, Hokkaido region. Josh is like furiously Wikipediaing right now.
Yeah, first time I saw Ainu people, it reminds me of Pocahontas.
Yeah, I mean, no, they're like the indigenous people that lived in, especially the northern islands, well before. I believe, Josh is gonna have to fact check me on this, but I believe that they're the very, very first people that lived here, and that's just because the migration of humanity came in waves, right? And so the very first people to travel here. Probably came down through the China, the second wave, what we consider Japanese people, probably came down through a second wave through China or up through Korea.
Yeah, I'd like to visit once to their community and the museum.
No.
Have you ever been to Hokkaido?
No, because I don't like the cold.
Oh, okay, that's why.
But I've decided maybe next year that I'm going to go to Hokkaido in the summer.
Oh yeah, might be good.
And drive it. I want to drive the whole of the island and just see.
Josh went to Hokkaido during the summertime, and he said he liked it.
No, that's actually he's my inspiration to go to during the summer. When he said that, I was like, "Huh, that sounds like a good idea." And I've talked to friends who've done the drive in the summer, and they like equate it to like Norway or to like Denmark and things like that.
Oh, beautiful flowers.
Josh, have you got us any information about the Ainu? Do you want to come back to it later?
We might have to come back to it later. The Wikipedia is very long, and it's referencing to a lot of people that like I've never heard of, so I have to like look up those people as well. So
well, anyway, if you look at that, we'll continue on. If I'm wrong about that, correct me, please.
Yeah, their dance and things are beautiful.
Yeah, so it's one of those indigenous traditional cultures that I think predates the Jomonji. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, one of the interesting things is that the Ainu people actually fall into two territories. They kind of fall into Japanese territory and into Russian territory because that whole northern area right there is where they roamed. Anyway, okay, let's continue. Funny story from me. Town sues man refusing to repay $46 million. So what is that? Like $35,000. He got by mistake. So in Yamaguchi Prefecture, the town of Abu. Abu. The Abucho.
Oh, okay.
Not
okay. Prime Minister Abe is also from Yamaguchi. I thought you were talking about that.
Abu.
Okay.
Filed a lawsuit with the district court on May 12th, demanding a resident return a whopping $46.3 million, $35,000 in pandemic financial aid deposited into his account by mistake, and pay the legal fees.
すごいよね.
So what happened here was that the town was giving everybody in the municipality like basically $1,000.
Can you get it?
Oh, I got it, of course.
Cool.
Everybody got it.
Okay. Everybody poor living in Japan can get it.
Residents.
Residents.
Over the age of 18 or 20, I forgot what the quality. Yeah, but this happened a year ago or more. But anyway, so everybody basically got $1,000 in their bank account so that they can get through the pandemic. I mean, the same thing happened in the United States where they printed money and gave a bunch of stipend checks to everybody. And not stipend checks, but support checks, I should say. Anyway, this town accidentally gave this man, instead of $1,000, they gave him $35,000. How the fuck did you do this?
By mistake, right?
By mistake.
The city hall person did the mistake.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and so the dude just disappears, and it won't. He's not returning any communications or anything. Yeah. So he just fucked off with the money.
But he said he's ready to take her, criminal. 罪は負う.
Oh, did they find him?
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
Because May 12th was when this article came out 2 days ago.
Okay.
They hadn't found him yet. So officials said his whereabouts are currently unknown. They have not been able to contact him.
Huh.
So maybe it's been updated.
Oh, okay. He said he's ready to take a criminal. Is that to me?
He's gonna turn himself in. That's
right,
what it says.
But he's not gonna get money back.
I mean, if the government accidentally gave me $35,000, I'd be like, it's mine now. Fuck. They're like, please return. I'd be like, no, thank you, it's mine.
Incredible.
What do you got left? What do you got left, Natsuki? You got
the Yamanote-sen.
okay, we can do this one. Do this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Tokyo Yamanote Line to test automated trains with automated trains with riders from October.
Continue.
JR East has been testing the automated system on out-of-service trains on the line, one of Tokyo's most congested since 2018. And the operator intends to implement the technology around 2028.
Okay, let's just stop.
No drivers?
So yeah, so tell us about this line. What is this line?
It's
The Yamanote line.
Yamanote Line is the most famous JR East line in Tokyo, and everybody gets on it. I don't know. I've never lived in Tokyo either.
So you got Tokyo.
Josh, can you explain Yamanote Line?
Do you want to explain it?
The Yamanote Line is basically a big circle, and they have, I think, 30 stations, and trains drive in both directions, and they just drive in circles forever and ever and ever. So, and it goes like all over Tokyo, basically all the main parts of Tokyo.
I feel happy for the drivers because that line has a lot of suicide, right? If I were a driver and then people jumped in front of me,
Jesus,
I will
woman.
be so shocked.
So will the automatic train stop if it hits someone?
Yeah, but unless, drivers get no damage. I don't think people will stop suiciding themselves. Some people keep dying. Am I wrong?
I tell you, Natsuki, it's been a long time since you've been on the show. It's random as fuck when you're on the show. Okay, good. Just pause with the suicide thing for just a second here. Okay, the Yamanote Line is like amazing because Tokyo is basically like, if you imagine like pouring, if you drop a droplet of water onto the ground and it just kind of splats in a 360 degree like shape, that's Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the Yamanote Line is one of the rings on that splat. It's just like circles around the main parts of Tokyo and a big giant. There's one goes clockwise, the other one goes counterclockwise. And it's amazing because no matter, you just get on it. And if you fuck up and you get on the wrong way, you just wait a little bit longer.
That's true.
Than you had to if you got on the right one. It's the best line in Tokyo.
Very crowded.
Anytime that I go to Tokyo, I stay at a hotel or somewhere near the Yamanote Line because it's just smart. Anyway, they're experimenting with automated drivers because it's a pretty easy to understand track with like very similar times and very similar stops, and so they're trying to do automatic driving. Now getting to the suicide, what the fuck are you talking about?
Because it stops a lot because of suicide.
Oh, well, they don't say that. They said there was an incident and they give you a piece of paper.
Right.
But anyway.
But every time it stops, people think, oh, it happens again,
It's a suicide. Yeah. There was actually recently a famous talento comedian that committed suicide 3 days ago.
But it's not train thing. He hung himself.
Okay, let's just keep doing all the words that YouTube likes. Weirdly enough, this is an English word. If you say like hanging, like to die thing, the past tense of this is hanged.
Hanged.
But if you like put your coat up, you say I hung my coat up.
Okay.
So just the way of dying is called, we say hanged for the past tense.
Okay.
Which, fuck you, Star Trek Picard. Picard says, and it's like, I'm gonna spoil it, but he said someone hung herself, and I'm like, hanged herself. Shitty writers on that new show. Anyway, so I just looked it up. The Ainu predate the Japanese. They're thought to predate the Japanese people and be the indigenous people that spread throughout Asia eons and eons ago, or whatever it was. So I was, I guess, right. We'll see. Japan government to release controversial document encouraging people to practice manga-inspired Kabedon. While we're on the topic of trains, Natsuki, what's Kabedon?
Kabedon, guy hit the wall so hard to make girls pressure.
Okay. Let's just go with this. Let's just follow Natsuki down this road. What kind of pressure is she feeling?
Like, I like you. It's scary. It's scary, isn't it?
I like you.
I like. Stop saying anything. Just look at my eyes.
Okay, so
But it doesn't happen the real world. People, it only happens in the comic books. So the guy who is saying this is totally stupid.
during a presentation on April 7, 2022, Jun Kobayashi, a member of the Cabinet Office Study Group, released a document called Research Document on Love. If you ever want to know about love, make sure the Japanese government publishes a document that you read in order to learn about it, because that's where you should really learn about love. Proposing a controversial courtship practice known as Kabedon, Kobayashi suggested that the Japanese government provide education to help shy people find romance, including how to profess love and propose marriage. He claimed that men and women who have had more relationship experiences are more likely to marry, become wealthy and happy, and the government and other groups should help people achieve such goals. And in this report, he said that Kabedon, which is, imagine you're on a train and there's a girl next to the wall, which is the Kabe part of this, okay? And she's like, just, I don't know, minding your own business, wearing her mask, and she's like on her phone, maybe playing one of those gem games or something that they always do. And a guy comes up to her and towers over her and hits the wall above her head to make the don, that's the Kabedon part of the don.
It's a sound.
The sound to scare her. And then in manga and anime, they like romantically look at each other and then they fall in love. Now, a famous Japanese personality, this Suzu Yamanouchi, this woman, she famous, you know, I think she's an actress, fashion model. Sorry, she commented, things like Kabedon only show up in shoujo manga.
Yeah,
and it's the fact that handsome actors do it in film adaptations that make viewers' hearts race. If someone you don't even like tries to do Kabedon on you in real life, the only thing you feel is scared.
right.
And this goes to show that sexism and sexual harassment only exist for unattractive people.
Well, what's the name of the guy?
Which guy? The guy that made the study?
Yeah.
Jun Kobayashi.
I wonder he has ever had a girlfriend in his life.
He might be one of those guys that's like married to a pillow. Have you seen those guys?
No.
You can actually, I forgot the news. I was going to put it in the show a couple days ago, but some dude married like a hologram. Do you got it? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I know this article. This guy legally married a hologram of Hatsune Miku.
Ah.
But recently the software went out of date, so he can no longer communicate with his holographic wife. That's sad.
Anyway.
This is why there's no babies in Japan.
Oh my goodness. So embarrassing.
So okay, guys, if you're at home and you're listening to this, listen, the whole flirting and hitting on and like sexual harassment and stuff like that, it's so incredibly biased. Hey dog, what's up, bro? This on both sides, women and men. As your level of attraction, like as your handsomeness or your prettiness goes up in level, the more bullshit you're allowed to get away with. So if you're on a television heartthrob, like if you're like a really hot guy on TV, you can Kabedon any fucking girl on the train and she's gonna be happy about it. If you're just maybe not you, but if you're just like some random guy,
yeah,
and you Kabedon some girl you don't know, she's just gonna kick you in the balls and run away. Don't do that.
Don't kick the ball. Just run away, that stranger. So those of you who are planning to come to Japan, never do that. I mean, man.
Have you ever
women.
seen someone do Kabedon in real life?
Of course not.
Oh no, wait, I have. We had a Kabedon competition in a bar one night.
That's like a game, right?
That was hella funny. But that's about it. It's the only time I've ever actually seen Kabedon outside of like manga.
Yeah, it's a comic book thing.
That's kind of one of the things that's kind of scary though, is like a lot of people when they come to Japan, they think it's just like manga and anime. It's not.
It's not happening.
No.
Don't do it.
No. Okay, let's do two more things. One is going to be about Japanese culture. So there's this picture on Twitter. Josh, can you throw it up on the screen if you please? It's a stairway. It's a stairway on Twitter. And then the person who tweeted this says, basically like, what can you learn about Japanese people looking at this one photo? And it's like in Japan, like in general, this is the simple picture of a stairway is worth 1,000 words about Japan culture. There it is. And so you look at the stairway, it's probably for a subway or something like that. And generally in Japan, people on the the traffic is directed usually by arrows or something like that. So people coming in, people going out are like separated. It's not like the scramble in Shibuya. It's like, very organized because there's so many hundreds and thousands of people going through these places, right? And anyway, in general, Japanese people follow these rules. I mean, when somebody doesn't follow these rules, they're very obvious, right? And so this guy on Twitter was talking about how you can learn something about Japanese culture from this. And so outside it's raining, and you see the down arrow, the side of the stairs are all wet, and then the up arrow is all dry, meaning that all the people coming off the train and going outside are following the rules, going on the dry side, and all the people coming in are going on the left. And it's really. This is actually one of the things that I really like about this country is like there's sometimes where freedom is important, but there's sometimes where just following the rules makes it easy for everybody. And this is one of those times that there's no reason not to follow the rules. Natsuki, when you go to Tokyo, do you follow these rules?
I do. And even Kagoshima people do that.
No, they don't. No, Kagoshima people suck at walking. I love you, Kagoshima.
If you go to the mall, shopping mall.
Oh, the escalator?
Yeah, escalator. And the JR steps.
Yeah.
They follow the rules.
Yeah, okay. They follow the rules more than they normally do. That doesn't mean that they follow the rules. They're still not on Tokyo's level.
Right, that's true.
Especially with the if you're not walking, you stand to the left.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like in a rush, you rush on the right side, okay? It's like the passing lane for like the escalator and stuff like that. That never fucking happens in Kagoshima because stupid idiots are standing next to each other, talking to each other on the escalator, and you're trying to get by.
Right.
And the one thing that really pisses me off about Kagoshima, and you do not see this in major cities, you will see a fucking wall of people standing shoulder to shoulder, like 9 people wide, walking down the street together. And you're like,
high school students?
No. This salaryman, businessman. One time I was walking toward, it looked like, that game Red Rover said blah, blah, blah over. It's like, it looked like that. And I was looking at these guys and they weren't making a gap for me. So I just like went, and I like clapped at them and looked at them. And then they looked around and they're like, oh, maybe we should be polite to the other people on the street. I was just like, you fucking dumbasses.
What, was it drunk?
No, it was like 4 p.m.
Oh, okay.
I hope they weren't drunk. Anyway, people in Kagoshima have no idea how to walk. Fucking Josh is back there shaking his head. He's like, they have no idea how to walk.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I love Kagoshima for a lot of things. You guys are not good at walking. Driving is fine. Driving in Kagoshima is fine.
People in Kagoshima don't really walk. They always drive. That's maybe why.
So when you get out of the car, you're like, what do I do? All right, let's get to our last story today. And I'm going to ask you a question, Natsuki. So when you go to a movie theater, okay, you watch the whole movie.
Okay.
Credits start rolling.
All right.
What do you do?
Leave. Or if I like the song and like my favorite singers singing the song, I might listen.
This is why Natsuki's on the show. She's not very Japanese. In Japan, what 99% of the people do, and you can see this because they don't even turn on the house lights when the credits roll. Japanese people will very politely sit and wait in their seat for the entire credits to roll, all the way down to like the Georgia little stamp that they have at the end and like, everything. And then when it's finally all over, then the house lights come on and then everybody leaves.
I didn't know that.
Fucking Natsuki. Josh, back me up on this.
Yeah, they totally do that.
You're fucking weird, Natsuki. Have you just been standing up and leaving?
Yeah, I mean, my dad does that too.
Well, your dad is also like, what's that dude's name that he looks like? George Walker or something like that? What's that dude's name?
Nantoka Hopkins.
He's the guy that flies around in that music video from...
But anyway.
Shit, I forgot his name. Anyway, but yeah, your dad's just a different creature completely by himself.
Maybe I leave first, so I didn't notice that the people are sitting as the last.
So what you're supposed to do, Natsuki, is you're supposed to sit there and wait until the credits roll. And I was going to ask you why do people do this, but since you don't do it, fuck it.
But I can guess.
Okay, try to channel your Japanese blood.
Okay. People wanna think about what the movie was like. They wanna think about. We say hitaru. Hitaru means like. Can you say hitaru? Emotion.
Hitaru would be like, yeah, it's like
think about.
Take it in, think about it, consider it.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay.
Or they wanna check the names.
No, you guys. Well, if it's a Japanese movie, maybe, but not English movies. You guys have no idea what's going on.
Oh, English movie.
I can barely read that shit. It's like
I check if there are some Japanese stuff in there. Do you understand what I mean? Western movies, Hollywood movies, and if I find Japanese names, I feel like yay.
okay. Anyway, the reason why, for you guys at home who don't know this, if you're a Japanese person and you're rolling your eyes because Natsuki has no idea about her own country, I'm sorry. The reason why Japanese people sit and watch the credits is because it's polite and respectful to the people who made the movie.
嘘嘘だ本当に
Natsuki, welcome to Japan. Jesus.
すごいね日本人
Yeah, you didn't know that.
すごい
Okay.
Oh my god, we are so polite.
I think that's it for today's show. Anyway, there's one more thing. Josh, you recently went and made fun of me. So in the show like 4 shows ago, we're showing a picture. There's like a new building here that went and took like a pretty. What would you call that picture? Like.
We're talking about the picture that Mitch took at a, what do you call it? A new
building.
mall.
And like I made a pose and like my staff uploaded it to Instagram stories, like a pose that I had from like my yearbook, like when I was like 18. And she's like 25 years later and you still haven't changed or whatever the fuck it said.
Like fashion model style, right?
It's not even fashion model style. It's just, it's a pretentious pose.
Yeah, it's very pretentious.
It's a very pretentious pose. And so Josh decided to go there.
Oh yeah, when I went to the what do you call it, Senteras,
Yeah.
The new building,
the
shopping
new
mall.
building, I decided to do the exact same pretentious poses.
I'll do it. I'll do it
We're gonna
too.
make this a thing, guys. We're gonna make this a thing.
And my fiance also did the same pose.
I'll make fun of him.
Yeah. It's not loading, but
During the daytime. You went there during the nighttime, right?
Yeah, well, okay, I wasn't planning on going there. I was just drinking with people.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, do you want to go to the new building? And I was like, fuck yeah. And then, there she is.
Oh, that's cute.
She's, yeah. Well, nice. Good job, everybody.
we both had the same, like, I'm too cool to smile, half smile look on our face.
I'll do it, and I'll make my daughter to do it.
This is the new trend.
Mitch pose challenge.
You know, I love all my friends, but why do you guys always gonna make so much fun of me? What's the deal here?
Because you're funny.
Okay. Anyways, at least I know why we sit through the fucking credits in a movie. Guys, that's been today's show. Remember, we have a Patreon. The link's in the description of whatever if you're watching or listening to this. Guys, we love comments. The last video that we had out, we got a fuck ton of comments, and that was actually really fun. We talk about you guys' comments, so please make sure that you make a comment. Today's show, what do we talk about? So many things. What do you guys feel about Pewdiepie coming to Japan? If you're a fan of Pewdiepie, let us know what you like about him, because he's got 111 million subs. If you're thinking about traveling to Japan, you got questions, or if you want to just tell us where you want to go and what you want to do, let us know. If you want to know more about suicide or, paintings by Leonardo DiCaprio. Also, let us know.
Was it Leonardo da Vinci who was a painter?
Yeah, it was Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But I kind of want to picture DiCaprio with his very signature acting style, like. Oh god.
Leo.
And if you guys want to know where you can take that pretentious photo, just leave us a comment. Natsuki, it's good to have you back. We'll have you more on the show.
Thank you.
Glad to see that you're Genki. All right, guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Click that like button if you haven't already. It really helps us out, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for all the love. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
He hit the button too late, so now we gotta wait. We gotta wait. Can't go yet. Oh, almost there. And bye.